Hi everybody! Hello folks and friends! I would really like to share the experience that I've had at or after the Art of Intuition Masterclass with Lipton yesterday. Spirituality has been a huge part of my life, actually forever, not just for the past years. But it wasn't so conscious, like I have a grandmother who believes in God, so she's always been talking in a very positive way about her faith. She never imposed any religion upon us grandchildren or her children, but she had this wonderful connection, and when she was talking about it, it was really inspiring. So that's just one of the things. I mean, I've also experienced just really random and beautiful synchronistic things that had me have glimpses of magic in my life that made me kind of want to believe in a higher force. On the other hand, I can also be a very heady person, an intellectual, somebody who likes to analyze and to research and to just like dig deep into concepts or constructs. And by now, after several years of therapy, or let's say with the help of therapy, I could, of course, see that getting into my mind and trying to solve things or see the world just through my mind or through my thoughts is an escape route in case I'm overwhelmed with emotions, or if I can't deal with stuff, I can just go into my head and go into problem solving mode or whatever. But the best things came into my life or happened to me mostly when I was able to be intuitive or to follow like my intuition, to follow up on impulses that didn't seem to make any logical sense or any intellectual sense, and often they led to beautiful encounters or revelations. So I cannot dismiss the importance of being able to follow these things, these intuitions. So okay, just a couple of days ago I was at my parents' house for the Halloween weekend and the day after, and I think it was on Halloween night, so I was just sitting at my parents' house on a sofa, just scrolling through Instagram, and I happened to see that this spiritual guy that I just recently started following on Instagram, he was doing a live. So I jumped on this live, and I'm not gonna get into that for too long. But and everything happened so quickly. I don't even know how it happened, but all of a sudden, I was in a live talk. I was in the live talk with Lipton. Like I just sent a request to be able to talk with him or ask him a question, and I just did it without even really thinking about what I would ask him. So you can already say that that was just a random impulse that at that point didn't mean much, or yeah, so I thought. So yeah, I don't know if I can cut this story short, but it was just very, very funny to me to all of a sudden be in a live conversation with a person that apparently is in a rising fame situation right now. Like he's a spiritual guide or spiritual teacher who does comedy, and his comedic videos I think are kind of going viral right now. So he's gaining lots of new followers, and he's getting his videos are getting shared, and I had looked on his page and I've seen the captions that he wrote to some of his pictures, which had a lot of depth to them, and I already realized that it's a person that had experienced things that I believe are magical, or that are proof of a higher guidance that can somehow lead us through life if we trust in it. So I was so excited to be on this call with him, and when he asked me what my question was, what is the issue that he could be helping me with, I didn't know anything to say. I was just laughing at the camera and saying that I just randomly went into this talk. But then of course I came up with a question, and I said I'm not going to get into it. I just got carried away. Anyways, after the live continued, he gave me good advice, and then he talked with other people who he gave good advice to. But my main feeling was I was very excited. I was energized, and I don't know, my adrenaline probably was pumping because I just had been on a live talk with a semi-famous person who I respected and I found attractive as well. When the live ended, or before it ended, Kyle was talking about a masterclass that he was going to do 2 days later for learning to use our intuition more. I really wasn't sure that I wanted to take part in that masterclass. I don't know, I felt huge resistance. I was tensed up, probably also because it was at night, like it was 8 p.m. and I was getting tired. And there was a mix of excitement from this encounter and just, I don't know, tension in my whole body. And Kyle, when we were writing on Instagram, Kyle kept asking me, because I said, yeah, I'd like to take the masterclass, but I don't have the money. And he kept telling me like to listen to my gut, and he went down with the price. I don't know, I had huge resistance. I just thought, yeah, he's just looking for customers, and what different things would he tell me? What else could there be than what I've already heard from lots of other YouTube videos that I've watched, for example. I'm following several spiritual guides and teachers on YouTube that I frequently watch and listen to and draw my wisdom from. So I was like, yeah, I was really resistant. And also I got really confused, and now this is like really, really personal. But I think I'm just gonna get out with it because this is like the main part of the moral from the story. I had it was not just excitement from the fact that he was getting famous, that was maybe a famous spiritual person. Also, I thought like I feel drawn to him, like I'm really attracted, and that fucking messed up my mind. So I was like, oh, I just want to take the masterclass because I'm finding him hot or whatever, you know, like I was playing everything down. I couldn't even, I didn't understand why, but I was like looking at this whole thing from a very negative perspective. So yeah, I didn't want to decide immediately, and I didn't. I told him I would need some time to think about it, and that was that. I slept on it, and the next day I started feeling this pull, and I started feeling that I really wanted to be in this masterclass. I thought, okay, the money is a lot for me, but I knew I had to do it, even though it didn't necessarily feel completely right. I was so certain that I was not gonna get anything out of it. And still I felt that I needed to go into this class. I was like, he will not teach me anything more than I already know, and I'm just gonna look at this. I'm just gonna take part in the class to see for myself that I'm already as good as he is, and I'll just go and see that it's not a big deal to be a coach for people, because that was the question I asked him in the Instagram live. I was like, I was talking about the fact that I think I might be a good creative coach or like a guide, a spiritual guide, but that I didn't necessarily start this process yet, and I didn't know why I didn't start to become a coach. So yeah, and when the thought came up to be in this masterclass, I don't know, there was so many negative things that I was projecting onto him. I thought Kyle is probably just to show off, and he's just looking for interesting, beautiful women. And sorry, just have to be honest. He's just looking for interesting, beautiful women and looking to have a lot of sex. It must have been projection. I don't know, because my sexuality has not been, let's say, very active recently. Whatever. I don't have a problem admitting that. So yeah, so I'm like torn. I'm absolutely torn between the knowing that I have to take the masterclass and the rest of me screaming at the top of my lungs and my heart that like I didn't think it would be a waste of money, because I knew I was gonna pay money to see that it's just hocus pocus and that it's just he's probably a fraud. I don't know what made me want to feel or think that. So little did I know. Oh wait, is there another detail I need to talk about? Let me check my notes. I'm really not sure in how much detail I want to tell you about this class. But I find it really interesting what happened to me during the class and afterwards. Okay, so let's say I am this really skeptical person, not expecting too much good to come off the class. And then I get into the Zoom meeting, there's Kyle, there's other women, I scroll through their thumbnails to just check out what they look like. For whatever reason, I'm this superficial bitch in that moment that is still looking for ways to, I don't know, to feel superior or something. It's so embarrassing to admit that, but it's important. Like from the start, Kyle seemed very confident and cool and relaxed. Like there was no nervousness. He cracked some jokes and made an inviting atmosphere. And I don't know, I think for me it took probably half an hour to ease into it. And in the first half hour, Kyle was talking about the experience that he has had with following his intuition and how wonderful and magical the things that happened to him were that came out of it. So yeah, and I was just, I don't know, I was easing into it. I was trying to take part in the chat and like asking questions and writing down what I needed guidance with. And I think everything changed for me in the course of the other women that were in this masterclass, when they were opening up and asking for guidance, and they were showing vulnerability. They were talking about the problem that they've had. Yeah, and Kyle answering in a very sovereign, is that the right word? Sovereign? In a sovereign way, like he didn't have any doubts. It was as if he knew exactly what to say, and most of the time it landed immediately. Like the woman he was just talking to that moment was able to perceive the truth in what he said and to apply it to her situation. And the rest of us and Kyle were able to witness how it helped her in real time. Like you could hear the readiness of her to receive the wisdom that was in Kyle's answers. And so, yeah, I'm like in it, and I'm realizing that I wouldn't be able to go on and pose a question because I didn't have any pressing issue at that moment. I was just there and I was present and taking everything in. And also I was realizing that my initial excitement or attraction that I felt for him was gone. I mean, I don't mean in a bad way, I mean in a good way. It was like sex or sexuality didn't matter in this space. It didn't matter that he was a guy and we were all women. We were all on the same human level, and that was beautiful. Like there was not a single taste of like confusing vibes or anything, at least from my perspective. And that was very, very freeing and beautiful, and that makes you feel comfortable in the space, and that makes it easier for you to receive the truth and wisdom that's being spoken. And at some point I cried when one particular girl was sharing about the losses that she's had, and you could feel how strong she was when talking about it. And the other women, when they were opening up, my heart hurts a little bit even now talking about it, because it was so touching. It was such a beautiful space that we all found ourselves in. I don't know, Kyle said very useful things in regards to how to listen to our intuition. I think for my question that was, how do I discern intuition from impulses? This question doesn't have to be answered. I think my answer right now, and the thing that I'm gonna go with and I'm gonna apply to my life, is that I'm gonna treat my intuition as a muscle, and I will have to give this muscle training. Like, I'll have to train this muscle to be able to hear it more and to trust it more. And these little impulses that I have, maybe all of them are important, and maybe I just have to start to even listen to every single one of them. I think it's interesting to note that I think I've been censoring myself. Like, I have lots of ideas or like quick impulses coming up often. Maybe you could maybe say that I have somewhat of an ADHD brain or something. I have impulses or ideas, and then it's like, okay, so what am I going to put into doing first? Like, what do I pursue? Which project, which idea, which YouTube video do I do first? What songs should I learn next? And you're sitting there, or I'm sitting there trying to decide in my head what's right, and I'm not moving at all. It's like, this is where the block comes from, because you think you have to know the right answer before you start acting. And through that masterclass of Kyle's, I got reminded that that's not the way. We have to start acting upon one of the impulses, maybe the loudest one, the strongest one, and then we have to remain attuned to the next one. Or like, for example, if you work for an hour at the computer and then you have an itch in your butt or whatever, or you have pain in your back, you have to get up, you have to move, and then you get hungry, go make some food, and then you get you remember to, I don't know, pay some bill or whatever, then do that. I don't know. I think I was censoring myself to go through with these impulses and to follow them, because it doesn't seem normal. It doesn't seem right to constantly change your direction. You know, like, I have this picture that as a reasonable person, you have to remain in one task for a long time. I don't know where this stems from. Could be from school or whatever, you know, where you have to sit for 45 minutes and do a task that you don't even like. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's my past as a pianist, as a classical pianist, where I had to sit at the piano for hours, even if I'd rather would have gone on to go play with my friends or whatever. But yeah, it's I have to get out of this mode of must and have to, and get more into the mode of trusting that what I want to is just equally important, and I can still have the same results or even better results, and I can be probably even more productive if I allow myself to change my route in my direction, or maybe to jump between projects and work on them simultaneously, or like switching between them from day to day, or maybe during the day. And that may be the better modus operandi for me. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. But if I keep suppressing that and try to model, to press myself into a model that's not fit for me, I will just get stuck and my energy won't flow. This masterclass reminded me of things that I, of course, heard of before and that I knew before, but we keep forgetting and we get sidetracked, if that's the right word. And I got reminded that I'm allowed to, or I even have to listen to the nudges, to my impulses, and I have to act upon them and to trust that that's going to be way better than trying to follow up on some intellectually modeled to-do list, if you know what I mean. Is it still recording at all? I'll try to finish this video with the fact that I got majorly humbled by this experience. I'm so happy that I was able to let life show me that there's so much more in store than my little headspace, my ego, my persona is able to grasp or to accept as what's possible. I followed a little nudge to go on Kyle Lipton's live conversation on Instagram, and I ended up being humbled in a major way. Yeah, I mean, I've been downplaying this whole experience or this person that I didn't even know, that I didn't know the history of, and I've been downplaying it until the masterclass came and happened and showed me how much power there is in the way this guy or this person does his business. And to see how confident he is and to see that he knows what he's doing, he feels what is right for the person in front of him, and he is gifting them with his insight or gifting us with this insight. And I'm just so touched to have been able to witness that and to see my ego dissolve or get smaller, because I didn't get angry or anything. I was just really happy to have been able to experience that. I was so happy to let go of that part of me that wanted to have control and wanted to wanted to know things through my head before life showed me otherwise. And yeah, I don't know a better word than to say that I've been humbled. I've been humbled by that experience, and that touches me. It touches me, and I'm so grateful that I followed my impulse and it all comes together so beautifully. I don't know, it's so powerful. It makes you feel powerful and more optimistic to go through life like that. You see a person trusting their instincts and sharing that with you, and you're able to follow up on that. It's like a beautiful Lauffeuer in German. I don't know what's it in English, but like a beautiful fire that gets reached around or passed on. So yeah, it's magic. It's beautiful. And also just imagining that I was thinking badly about the women that I didn't know. It makes me sad. It makes me sad that I need this control thing for protection, apparently, to, to guard off the possibility of getting hurt or getting disappointed. Like, you're afraid of disappointment, or it's typical for my life. I've had this experience many, many times where I was looking forward to something and then I got disappointed, or, all of us have experienced that. It's just that it really kind of broke me. So it seems that I have to put up a wall, like a huge wall of coldness and hardness, being hard, and not letting in anything before life proves me that it's all good, you're safe, you can experience beautiful things. And I did. And I don't know, it just makes me really, really happy. It makes me happy that I want to cry tears of relief and joy and gratefulness, and just really made me want to share this, even though I'm not used to speaking about these things. And I've been thinking about it for a long time, to start a channel where I share my spiritual journey, but I didn't know how. And maybe this is just the start of it. I don't need to know how. I'm just gonna do whatever, and then I can build upon that. I can make it better the next time, and whatever. I think I'm finished. I think I'm done. And if there's anything more, I will just record another video. So thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. Until next time. Bye! Okay, you guys, I have to add one more thing that I find quite amazing that I forgot to talk about. On the same day, after the masterclass, some hours later, I went on YouTube and wanted to watch the energy update for November of another spiritual teacher that I'm watching, Lee Harris. And I started watching the video. He was about to name three or more topics for the month of November, the topics that we'd be dealing with energetically. And I was very surprised for him to name the second topic of the month as releasing assumptions, and the subtitle was learning where our perceptions aren't correct or true. And then he goes on to talk about this phenomenon for 4 more minutes, and every single word and sentence he said was completely fitting for what I've been just talking to you about in those more than 20 minutes. So, I mean, for most rational people, this would mean nothing, or they would just say that this is like selective perception or whatever. But for me, it's a sign that I'm fucking aligned with the universe, baby. I don't know. For me, it was amazing to hear the whole process of what I've just been through being predicted as a topic for the month of November. And I don't have these moments very frequently, you know, where I have like a picture of something or like an opinion, and then I get sidetracked, because usually I'm really open-minded. I don't know why this happened here, why I was so prejudiced. So yeah, think what you will. It's just my little journey, y'all. Bye!